Picture this. You're sipping a flat white at a Bondi cafe, scrolling through your phone, when you see a headline that stops you cold. Argentina's rock star president Javier Milei is tanking in the polls, hard. A year ago, this guy was the darling of global politics, with approval ratings over 50%, trailing only India's Narendra Modi. Now, his numbers are in free fall, dipping below zero in some polls. Why should you, an Aussie, care about a politician on the other side of the Pacific? Because Milei's crash isn't just about Argentina. It's a warning for your wallet, your super, and your dreams of owning a home in Sydney's million-dollar market. His story is a masterclass in what happens when bold financial promises meet brutal economic reality. And trust me, there's a twist at the end of this tale that'll make you rethink everything you know about building wealth in a shaky world. Let's set the scene. 70% of Australians, yes, 7 out of 10, worry their savings won't last through retirement. That's according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, and it's a stat that hits like a rogue wave at Bells Beach. Whether you're a 20-something drowning in HEX debt, a 40-something juggling a mortgage and kids' footy fees, or a 60-something eyeing your super balance, you're feeling the pinch. The cost of living is climbing faster than a roux on a Red Bull bender, inflation's hovering at 3 to 4%, and Sydney's median house price is a cool $1.2 million. Meanwhile, the Reserve Bank of Australia's cash rate sits at 4.35%, squeezing your budget like a python on a possum. So what's Milei got to do with this? His Argentina was a bold experiment in slashing debt, taming inflation, and shaking up the system. Sound familiar? It's the kind of shake-up Aussies dream of when they're fed up with rising rates and endless bills. But something went wrong. Horribly wrong. In the next minutes, we're diving into why Milei's approval ratings are crashing, what it means for your financial future, and, here's the kicker, a secret mistake Aussies are making that's costing millions. Stick around, because this isn't just a story about a politician. It's about you, your money, and how to avoid the same traps. At Breakbank, we're all about smashing financial myths, and this video, brought to you by Brilliant, is going to blow your mind. Let's start with a question. What if you could spot a financial disaster before it hits your bank account? Imagine having the foresight to dodge the kind of economic chaos that's tanking Milei's popularity. That's what we're unpacking today. From the beaches of Bondi to the vineyards of Barossa, we're building a roadmap to financial freedom, Aussie style. But before we dive in, hit that subscribe button. 68% of you haven't yet, and we're this close to 1 million subs. Ready? Let's surf this wave together. So, you're hooked. You're wondering, why is Javier Milei, Argentina's once untouchable president, watching his approval ratings crash faster than a dodgy ute on the Hume Highway? And more importantly, what's this got to do with your bank, account, your super, or that dream of owning a slice of the Gold Coast? Let's dive into the chaos of Argentina's economy and uncover the eerie parallels with Australia's own financial tightrope. This is Breakbank, brought to you by Brilliant, where we don't just talk money, we smash the myths holding you back. Grab a VB or a coffee from your local Woolies, because this story's about to get real. Picture Australia right now. You're slogging through a week at work, maybe as a tradie in Perth or a nurse in Brisbane. You check your bank account and it's looking sadder than a rainy day at the Melbourne Cup. Inflation's at 3 to 4%. Eating your pay like a shark on a surfer. The Reserve Bank of Australia's cash rate is stuck at 4.35%, making your mortgage feel like a backpack full of bricks. And if you're eyeing a house in Sydney, good luck. Median prices are $1.2 million, according to CoreLogic. That's enough to make you choke on your Vegemite toast. Meanwhile, your super's sitting at an average of $150,000 for 40-year-olds, per the Australian Taxation Office. But you're wondering if it'll cover a comfy retirement or just a caravan in Dubbo. Now meet Emma, a 32-year-old barista from Melbourne. She's got a HEX debt hanging over her like a bad hangover, a credit card balance that's creeping up faster than petrol prices, and a rent bill that makes her eyes water. Emma's not alone. 40% of Aussies don't have a proper emergency fund, says ASIC. She dreams of buying a flat in St. Kilda, but with house prices out of reach, she's stuck scrolling Milei'S, wondering if micro-investing's her ticket out. Sound familiar? Whether you're Emma, a young gun drowning in debt, a mid-career dad in Adelaide juggling childcare and a side hustle, or a retiree in Hobart counting your super, you're feeling the squeeze. It's not your fault. The system's tougher than a wallaby's scrum. Now, let's hop across the Pacific to Argentina. Javier Milei stormed into office promising to fix a country in worse shape than a footy field after a grand final. Inflation there was insane, 25.5% a month in December per their stats office. That's like your grocery bill doubling before you get to the Kohl's checkout. Milei's plan? Slash government spending, devalue the peso, and free up markets. It was bold, like telling Aussies to ditch super and bet it all on BHP shares. For a while, it worked. Monthly inflation dropped to 2% by early 2025. But here's the catch. 2% a month still means 27% a year. Imagine your flat white costing $30 by next Christmas. Argentinians were fed up, and Milei's polls started sliding, net approval down 10 points from +7 to -5, according to Atlas polling. Why? Because bold promises don't pay the bills. Milei's cuts hurt everyday people. Think single mums and tradies, not unlike Emma in Melbourne. His new $20 billion IMF loan, reported by Reuters, was meant to stabilize the peso but sparked outrage. 61% of Argentinians hated it, per Analogia's polls, because the IMF's got a rep in Argentina worse than a dodgy landlord. 23 loans since 1956, each with painful spending cuts. Milei, who once called the IMF bureaucrats who don't care, did a U-turn, and voters felt betrayed. Add in a crypto scandal. Libra, a coin he hyped on X, crashed after insiders cashed out, per Zuban Cordoba, and his anti-corruption image took a hit. 54% of voters now doubt his trust, says the same poll. Back to Australia. We're not Argentina, thank goodness. No 200% inflation here, but the vibes are similar. You're battling rising rates, a housing market that feels like a rigged pokey, and a super system that's harder to crack than a Tim Tam packet. The ASX 200's chugging along at 7% average returns per S&P Global, but you're not sure how to tap in. And just like Milei's voters, you're sick of promises that don't deliver, whether it's politicians spruiking tax cuts or influencers pushing crypto scams. The lesson? Big talk doesn't build wealth. It's like trying to surf pipeline. Without a board, you'll wipe out. But here's the hope, mates. Emma, our Melbourne barista, started small. She cut one coffee a week, $5 saved. She chucked it into a Rise account, investing in ETFs like VAS. 5 years later, she's got 10 grand, a start toward a deposit. You can do this too. The system's tough, but it's not unbeatable. Think of wealth like climbing Uluru. Steep, sweaty, but the view's worth it. We're not here to sell you dreams. We're here to hand you a map. And trust me, there's a twist coming later that'll make you rethink every financial move you've made. Want a hint? It's about a mistake Aussies are making that's costing more than a penthouse in Bondi. Before we move on, pause and think. What's the biggest financial stress in your life right now? Rent? Debt? Super? Drop it in the comments. We're building a community at Breakbank to tackle this together. Up next, we're diving into practical steps to dodge Milei's mistakes and build your wealth, Aussie style. Stay tuned. All right, mates, we've seen the mess in Argentina. Javier Milei's bold promises crashing harder than a dodgy Barbie on Boxing Day. His approval ratings are in the gutter, down to -5 in Atlas polls, because his economic shakeup left. Everyday people gasping like fish out of water. But here's the good news. You don't have to repeat his mistakes. Whether you're a young gun in Sydney drowning in HEX debt, a brissy mum balancing a mortgage, or a Perth retiree eyeing your super, this is your moment. Welcome to Breakbank, brought to you by Brilliant, where we're not just talking about wealth, we're handing you the tools to build it, Aussie style. Let's dive into 3 practical strategies to dodge Milei'S traps and take control of your financial future. Grab a pen because this is where the rubber hits the road. First up, let's tackle debt. It's like a shark in the surf at Bondi, and you don't want to be its lunch. Aussies owe over $2 trillion in household debt, per the Reserve Bank of Australia, with credit cards and HECS biting hard. Meet Liam, a 28-year-old Sparky from Adelaide. He had 10 grand in credit card debt and a 15 grand HECS loan, stressing him out more than a grand final loss. Liam used the debt snowball method and it changed everything. Here's how it works. List your debts from smallest to largest, ignoring interest rates. Pay minimums on all but the smallest. Then throw every spare cent at that one. Once it's gone, roll that payment into the next debt. Liam started with a $500 store card, paid it off in 3 months, then hit his credit card, clearing it in 18 months. His HECS is next, and he's sleeping better than a koala in a gum tree. Step 1. Open your banking app. Right now, pause this video and list your debts. Got a 2 grand credit card? A 5 grand car loan? Right. I'm down. Step 2, cut one expense. Skip 1 pub meal a week. That's $20. Step 3, chuck that cash at your smallest debt. Apps like WeMoney can track this for you. Liam's trick? He visualized each paid-off debt as a win, like kicking a goal in the AFL. The psychology here is key. Small wins build momentum. Milei ignored everyday people's struggles. You won't. This method works because it's simple and it's faster than you think. Question: what's your smallest debt? Drop it in the comments. Let's hold each other accountable. Next, let's talk investing, specifically ETFs on the ASX. Milei'S Argentina devalued the peso, making savings worthless. You can protect your money by growing it. The ASX 200 averages 7% annual returns per S&P Global, and ETFs like Vanguard's VAS let you own a slice of it for peanuts. Meet Aisha, a 35-year-old teacher from Brisbane. She started with $200 a month in VAS, using Milei'S to automate it. 10 years later, she's got 50 grand, enough for a deposit on a unit. ETFs are like planting a eucalyptus tree. Small now, massive later. Step 1. Open an account with ComSec or SelfWealth. Takes 10 minutes. Step 2. Pick an ETF. VAS tracks the top 200 Aussie companies like BHP and Coles. Step 3. Set up auto investments, even $50 a month. Compounding is your mate. 200 a month at 7% grows to 70 grand in 15 years, per ASIC's calculator. Here's the kicker. You don't need a finance degree. Aisha didn't. She just started small, like buying a coffee, instead of a latte. Avoid Milei'S mistake. Don't bet on risky crypto hypes like his Libra scandal, which tanked and left investors fuming, per Zuban Cordoba polls. Stick to boring, reliable ETFs. Pause and check. How much can you invest monthly? $10? $100? Comment below. We're building a wealth movement. Oh, and next up, there's a hack for your super that'll make your jaw drop. Stay tuned. Finally, let's supercharge your super. Australians have 2.3 trillion in super per APRA, but most treat it like a forgotten Bunnings receipt. Milei'S cuts slashed pensions in Argentina, leaving retirees high and dry. Don't let that be you. Meet Tom, a 52-year-old truckie from Perth. His super was 180 grand, but he was set to retire with barely enough for a caravan. He optimized it and now aims for 1.5 million by 65, enough for a comfy life, per ASFA. Step 1. Log into your super account. MyGov makes it easy. Step 2. Check your fees. High fees, like 2%, can eat 30% of your balance over 30 years, says ASIC. Switch to a low-fee fund like Australian Super. Step 3. Boost contributions. Tom added $200 a month via salary. Sacrifice, tax-free. Step 4. Pick growth options, shares over cash. Tom's fund now grows at 8%, not 4%. Here's a challenge. Log into your super tonight. Takes 5 minutes. See your balance, fees, and investment mix. Comment "Done" if you do it. We're watching. Milei'S voters felt betrayed by broken promises. You're building trust in your future. These strategies, debt snowball, ETFs, super hacks, are your shield against economic chaos. But there's a catch. There's a mistake Aussies are making, worse than Milei'S IMF flip-flop costing millions. Want a hint? It's hiding in plain sight like a snake in the outback. Stick around for the next part, where we talk long-term wealth and get closer to that bombshell. We're in the home stretch, mates, and the stakes are higher than a grand final at the MCG. Javier Milei's approval ratings in Argentina have tanked, down to -7 in Zuban Cordoba polls, because his economic gamble forgot one thing. People need a plan that lasts. At Breakbank, brought to you by Brilliant, we're not here for quick fixes or crypto hype like Milei's Libra flop. We're building wealth that sticks, like a Qantas jet landing smoothly in Sydney. Whether you're a 20-something saving for a Bondi flat, a 40-something eyeing a side hustle, or a 60-something planning your retirement on the Gold Coast, this part's for you. Let's talk long-term wealth, how to grow it, protect it, and live the life you deserve. And trust me, that big twist we've been teasing, it's coming. And it'll hit harder than a rogue ascendancy at Bell's Beach. Let's dive in. Imagine this. You're 65, sipping a flat white on your veranda, no mortgage, no worries, just you, the ocean, and a super balance that'll last longer than a Tassie winter. Sounds like a dream, right? But it's possible, if you plan like a pro. Milei's Argentina slashed pensions, leaving retirees scrambling per Reuters. Australia's different, but only if you're smart. The Association of Superannuation Funds of Australia says you need 1.5 million in super for a comfy retirement. Think holidays to Bali, not just baked beans from Coles. How do you get there? It's about sustainability, like protecting the Great Barrier Reef. Nurture it, and it thrives. Meet Sarah, a 55-year-old nurse from Melbourne. 10 years ago, her super was 120 grand, barely enough for a caravan. She was stressed, picturing a retirement scraping by. Then she got serious. Step 1. She maxed her super contributions. Sarah's salary sacrificed an extra $300 a month, tax-free, boosting her balance. Step 2. She switched to a growth fund, 70% shares, 30% bonds, earning 8% annually per Australian super data. Step 3. She diversified beyond super, buying a rental property in Geelong, now earning 5 grand a month per core logic. Today, Sarah's super is 700 grand, and her total wealth is 2 million. She's retiring next year, planning a cruise with Qantas. Sarah's not a millionaire in a suit. She's a nurse, like your mom or sister. Here's how you do it. First, plan your super withdrawals. At 60, you can access your super, but don't blow it. The 4% rule, backed by Financial Planners, says withdraw 4% a year, 60 grand from a 1.5 million balance, adjusted for inflation. It'll last 30 years. Log into MyGov tonight, takes 5 minutes, and check your projected balance. Comment "checked" if you do it. We're in this together. Second, diversify your portfolio. Sarah's rental is one piece. Add ASX, ETFs like VDHG, blending global and Aussie shares, yielding 6% per Vanguard. Got spare cash? Try a side hustle. Think Airbnb or selling crafts on Etsy. Aussies earn 30 billion from side gigs annually, per ABS. Third, adopt millionaire habits. Delay gratification. Skip that new iPhone for a year. Track spending with apps like Pocketbook. Sarah cut 1 cafe coffee a week. $5 saved, $1,800 a year invested. Milei's mistake was short-term thinking, cuts without a vision. You're smarter. Think like a boomerang. Throw it right, and wealth comes back. The ASX. 207% average return per S&P Global compounds over decades. Start with $100 a month in VAS. In 30 years, it's 120 grand per ASIC's calculator. Protecting wealth means low-fee funds. Avoid 2% fees eating 30% of your super, says ASIC. And estate planning. Write a will. Don't leave your kids a mess. Sarah's will ensures her Geelong property funds her grandkids' education. Here's a challenge. Set one long-term goal. Retire at 60? Buy a rental? Comment your goal? We're building a wealth tribe. Milei'S voters felt abandoned. You're not alone. But here's the thing. There's a mistake Aussies are making. Bigger than Milei'S IMF U-turn, costing more than a harborside mansion. It's so obvious you'll kick yourself. Want a clue? It's in your wallet every day. Next part, we're wrapping up with a call to action and that bombshell. Stay tuned. Here we are, mates, the final lap, like the last over in a Big Bash thriller. We've unpacked why Javier Milei's approval ratings in Argentina have nosedived from +7 to -7 in polls like Zuban Cordoba, all because his economic shakeup promised the world but left everyday people high and dry. At Breakbank, brought to you by Brilliant, we've shown you how to avoid those traps, Aussie style. From smashing debt to growing your super, we've built a roadmap to financial freedom tougher than a wallaby's tackle. But now, it's time for the big surprise we've been teasing. A mistake Aussies are making that's costing more than a harborside penthouse. Ready? This is gonna hit like a rogue wave at Bondi. Let's wrap this up and get you moving toward a richer future. Let's rewind. Milei's Argentina was a warning. Bold talk doesn't pay the bills. His $20 billion IMF loan, per Reuters, and a crypto scandal with Libra, per Zuban Cordoba, tanked his trust. 54% of voters now doubt him. Here in Australia, you're battling your own storms. Inflation at 3 to 4%. Per ABS, mortgages at 4.35% RBA rates, and Sydney house prices at 1.2 million per CoreLogic. We met Emma, the Melbourne barista who cut debt with a snowball. Liam, the Adelaide Sparky, invested in ASX ETFs like VAS. Aisha, the Brisbane teacher, grew her super to 700 grand. And Sarah, the Melbourne nurse, hit 2 million by diversifying. These aren't millionaires in suits. They're you. Your mates, your family, their secret action, not promises. Now the bombshell. You've been waiting for the mistake costing Aussies millions. Here it is. Subscriptions. Yep. Those sneaky Netflix, Spotify, and gym memberships in your wallet are bleeding you dry. Sneakier than a drop bear in the outback. Finders 2025. Report says the average Aussie spends $200 a month on subscriptions. $2,400 a year. Over 30 years at 7% ASX returns, that's $1.2 million you could have had. That's a house in Brisbane, a comfy retirement, or a legacy for your kids. Pause and check your bank app. How many subscriptions are you paying for? I bet it's more than you think. Aussies have 60 million subscriptions, per Statista, and half are unused or forgotten. Milei ignored everyday pain. Don't ignore this. Here's your 7-day challenge, the Breakbank Freedom Sprint. Day 1. List every subscription, streaming, apps, even that gym you haven't hit since the last Ashes. Day 2. Cancel 3 you don't need, Netflix and Stan, pick one. Day 3. Redirect that cash, $50 a month, to an ETF like VDHG or your super. Day 4. Track your spending with Pocketbook or WeMoney. Day 5. Set a goal. Retire at 60, buy a rental, or clear debt. Day 6. Comment your goal below. We're a tribe. Day 7. Share this video with one mate. That's it. 7 days. To kickstart your wealth like planting a seed in the Barossa. Do it. And you're not just building money, you're building freedom. Let's paint the picture. Your financial journey is like sailing the Great Barrier Reef. Navigate wisely, and the rewards are endless. Every dollar you save is a step toward that Gold Coast retirement, that Tassie holiday, or that legacy for your kids. Milei'S voters felt betrayed. You're empowered. The ASX 200's 7% returns per S&P Global and your 2.3 trillion superpool per APRA are your tools. Start small, $10 a week in raise, a coffee skipped for your debt. It's not about being rich, it's about being free. Comment. What's your first step to financial freedom? Cancel a subscription, invest $50, share it, and let's inspire each other. Before we go, hit that subscribe button, like this video, share it with a mate, and join the Breakbank movement. We're smashing financial myths from Sydney to Perth, one wallet at a time. Your wealth isn't a dream, it's a plan. Let's make it happen. Cheers, mates.